So Brett, we're just waiting for the recording to start, which is
No problem.
all right. Okay, so good morning everyone. We will reconvene. So we now have Brett Giddens online and submitters here being represented. Isabel Agnew with Richard, husband, and Andrea McMillan. So primarily here to consider the East Gore buffer area. I just want to clarify before we start, there is a map on the agenda on page 90 something from memory. I just want to understand where the Agnews and McMillans live before we start, please. Can you help us, please? So for the purpose of everyone in the room, sitting opposite is the Section 42A reporter, Joanne Skews, and our administrator, Lindsay Crazy Wolf, who is sitting at the front, and everything is being recorded. Right, so the plan we've got is that Brett's? No, it's a supplementary evidence. Yes. Yes. Okay. So Andrea lives immediately below the water treatment plant. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Their bedroom is 42 metres from the aerator.
Right. And the Agnews then, where are you?
Across the street.
So on the opposite side of the road, further up. Okay, the understanding of that. So Brett, we've, I don't know if you've been online this morning, we've withheld any discussion. Have you received a copy of the legal advice that came in last evening?
Yes, I did. Thanks, Keith. Yeah, that was the Anderson Lloyd submissions there. I don't really have anything to add to those, to be fair. So I guess at the end of the day, it's up to the council as to how they decide to run their case and where they decide to look at the particular issues. So
how do you want to proceed today?
Well, I guess from my perspective, you've got my evidence. It's not overly lengthy, and my summary there. I'm happy to read the summary or just be available for any questions that assist the commissioners.
Right. So in the mountain of papers we've received, I don't recall seeing your summary. So if you can take us through that, please.
Yep, certainly. That was a document I provided to Lindsay, I think, on Thursday, but I'll just run through it quickly for you. I've been asked by Andrea McMillan and Tony Harper, who are the submitters, to provide planning evidence with respect to the PDP and the impact of those provisions on the residential property that they have to the south of the water treatment facility, and that's marked on that plan in line primary evidence just to the south of that facility. The primary issue stems from the unlawful nature of the water treatment facility, its effects on the environment, and including those unknown future effects, and the approach by the council to try and resolve these through the PDP. My opinion is that the water treatment facility is not protected by existing use rights, and with these extinguished at the time that the facility was expanded about circa 2018, which at that time they didn't have all the necessary approvals at hand. My view was consistent with the advice that the council received at that time. Just in terms of the adverse effects, again, they've been quite well detailed in the submission from Andrew and Tony. Noise, vibration, the visual side of things as well, and these are well known to the council. So essentially my evidence that I provided was focused on the residential stream, which relate to the buffer as well as the proposed rule. I guess the nuts and bolts of where we've landed now, commissioners, is that my view is an agreement with the councils in terms of that method not being the most appropriate option to be advancing under Section 32 and 32AA. So essentially we are in agreement on that point, with the key issues essentially being looked at under the designation stream that we're coming up.
Okay, so the issue we're able to deal with as part of today then is the buffer zone, and the recommendation we've got from the 42A reporter is that it's not the most appropriate technique to adopt to draw it to people's attention, and the recommendation is that that be removed, and also from the one in Mataura. And I guess from Joanne, your point of view, there's probably nothing additional at this stage.
That's correct, yes, in terms of the residential chapters and how I've approached them in relation to the residential zones, rules, and what's applicable, I have nothing further to add in terms of my recommendation.
Right. So the reports for the next hearings, which includes the designation, came out online on Monday. And in addition to those, I have asked for a copy of the designation that the council has prepared to underpin the designation that's in the district plan. I don't think it's necessary to take the buffer area any further today, but I just wanted to use the opportunity just to ensure that whether it is necessary, you believe it's necessary for the panel to actually be asking for any further information prior to the designation hearing. So I guess there's a little bit of an opportunity, I guess, Brett, just to, you've set the scene in terms of what you see as the adverse effects, whether there's other additional information you believe the panel needs to be aware of prior to the hearing.
Yeah, I think to be helpful in that regard, because I'm generally on board with the council in terms of a designation being the appropriate response for council infrastructure. I think I'm on the same page with that. The issue that the notified designation has is that there was no scope as to what is actually being designated. What is the facility? How big is it? What's happening in the future? What are the controls? What are the how is all this being managed? And it's quite unusual to see a designation that's these are the kind of designations you saw 20 years ago on plans. It's quite rare now to see them without conditions. So I think any guidance that the council can actually propose or even help along the way, just by actually refining what the actual facility will be, what type of future expansion they're looking at providing for. I think all that type of thing would be really helpful for the submitters to understand, and then obviously from my end I can work with them to help evaluate those effects and hopefully turn up to a hearing and provide something useful to everyone.
So I guess to hear from you people on the same, whether there's any information that you think that we should be asking for prior to the hearing.
To do with the designation?
Yes.
So sorry, can you repeat that? Is there anything
Yeah,
that
so
we can...
Actually, just to commissioners, I can probably help a little bit further
Yeah.
for the submitters on this. Just off the back of discussions that we've had previously, there has been acoustic assessment being undertaken of the facility once it was expanded, which from memory came back with quite high noise readings above the district planning standards. If there's going to be some further mitigation included within the designation, I think it would be helpful to have an acoustic device for the commissioners, just to see where that sits. If that's, I think that's quite a critical issue, noise and vibration. And leading on to just what I was saying before, if there's any information about the extent of what future expansion may entail and what that may look like, I think that would be very helpful as well.
yeah, it does. Yes. Yeah. And you've made reference in a couple of cases to existing use rights, and you've quoted a comment that I made that was virtually the same comment that came from the council advisors, that there was likely existing use rights prior to the development, And I went and had a look at the emails that I wrote at the time that said, until we find out what's happening on the site, we don't know what the outcome is on those. So I don't think I've got any conflict moving forward. But I'm interested from Brett, in terms of a designation, which is a new designation, or in fact it may be reinstatement of one that was in the Southland County plan, whether existing use rights are relevant at all.
Well, yeah, it's a complicated planning issue, because I think where it stands at the moment, I'm quite firm on the view that it doesn't have existing use rights. If we look at the expansion, I think it was circa 2018, that scale and nature and intensity has changed, and it's exceeded over a 12-month period, so it doesn't matter what you do to bring that back up to speed from a building perspective as well as a planning perspective. My preference is to put all that to one side and just focus on what the outcome is here, in terms of looking at this as a piece of council infrastructure, and not trying to get too wedded to the lawfulness side of things, because I think if you do, we might all go down the rabbit hole and not actually get an outcome that works for the residents as well as the council. So that's essentially where I'd like to see that issue parked, so we're not getting bogged down on it. In terms of whether that's fixed by designation, I'm not entirely sure. It won't fix the Building Act component, that's for certain. But again, I think we have to focus here on conditions and parameters of the designation. We should be along the right track.
Okay, that's extremely helpful, thank you. And you and I think, are of the same mind, that we would be ending up going down a rabbit hole, spending a lot of time on an issue that, I guess, in terms of what the panel wants to be focusing on, is the designation and what's the appropriate way of dealing with that. So that's very helpful in helping us plan for the next hearing.
Just for one comment, and I'm not sure who else is in the room from the council's perspective, if there is any opportunity there for some engagement from the council back to the surrounding landowners, just to assist with understanding what the effects are from their perspective, I think that would be really helpful before the hearing. And I say that because the facility's been expanded previously, so a lot of those effects are actually known and can be evaluated. So I think if there's a bit more consultation in the minutes, I think that may well again help both parties to get a better outcome.
Okay, also to help plan for the hearing, councillors are aware that there were some noise issues on the site last year, and I guess for the adjoining residents, are they still an issue?
Yeah, my understanding is that they are, but that's something I'll chat to Tony and Andrew about. I think again, it's even if they have been resolved, I think the key issue from a planning perspective is ensuring that we have some conditions there so they don't come again, basically.
Anything to add, Andrea?
Brett's covered it pretty well. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's probably as far as we can take everything today, and I think that was a very helpful little discussion that gives us an intro for the hearing, which is next month. We've got, were you the author of the 42A on that one? No, Tina.
Correct, yeah, I'm not the author. However, if I can assist in facilitating any consultation or anything that the panel deems necessary, I'm more than happy to help, because I do have a good overview of previous things that have happened and also moving forward, as well as how it fits with the residential chapter. So more than happy to help facilitate where I can.
Right. So our focus this week has been the 400 or so pages that, of reports and supporting material that we've been working our way through. Had a quick flip through the reports for the next hearing. So over the next week, we'll undertake to have a closer look, and if there's anything further that arises from issues raised there today, we'll certainly have some talkies with the staff and consultants, and see if we can make the next hearing relatively smooth, so we're focusing on what we need to be focusing on. So, anything else from you?
I was just going to ask if the Ag News have the same issues as you do, Andrea.
As for more for the buffer zone, we wanted it gone.
Removed. So
Yes, because it was going to affect us.
Okay.
But also we're in co with what's happening with Andrew as well.
It's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so there's nothing further we'll do today. So thank you for coming in. Very helpful, and look forward to seeing you in about 4 weeks' time again. Right.
It's just to cover the noise issues. Then the noise hearing will be coming up, and that's possibly you want to come back again if you have effects.
Is there a date for that?
There is a date.
Noise is at the same time.
Right.
Same hearing.
Same hearing.
Yes.
Right.
So-
that is,
I thought it was November.
You're right. You're right. Yes. No, October.
Oh, yeah.
October the 14th.
Thank you.
So, thank you. We'll move on. And Nikki, I've asked for confirmation in terms of the Mataura one, just to make sure that there is a submission that picks up the recommendation that's come in, that it should come off. Okay? Yes, yes. All righty, cheers. Yes, now from a timing point of view, we're having all of the hearings that go through until March of next year. And we will not be issuing decisions until we have gathered everything together following that. So it is likely to be June or July next year before all the written decisions come out. And you can appreciate that the issues that impact on the treatment plants also then relate to designations and to noise. And we need to deal with them as a package together once we've heard all the submissions on noise as well. So our job is really to hear all the individual parts and then bring together, and then we can write all our decisions up.
With you talk about the noise, when you crank the new plant up and you actually get the water from this side to that side, no one's going to know how much noise is going to come out when it's working full capacity.
I think that is a question worth putting when we have the hearing, and hopefully, because that report hasn't been written, who's got the task of writing that report? Yes. Right. So I think your comment will be passed on to the writer of that report.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Once the buffer zone has been deleted, can we get it in writing?
Oh, yes, you will. Yes, yes. But it's 10 months off.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
want to make sure that we do get it in writing.
Yes, yes, you will.
Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you.
There is a submission from the town.
Right. Okay. So who?
Did we bring Clark Fortune?
Yes.
I have emailed Clark Fortune, I have emailed Environment Southland to see if they can be moved up, but they haven't replied yet.
Who was that outside?
That was David Gray, or, David Gray, he was the lawyer for that.
Oh, okay. I thought it was from Clark Fortune.
No,
They look the same. Okay, so are we offline?
can be.
So we'll adjourn until further submitters arrive.